Cold War jets simulating a dogfight at an air display in the United States. But 70 years ago, these two adversaries, the American F-86 Sabre and the Soviet MiG-15, met for real in the skies over Korea in the first jet versus jet battles. Once the American-led forces entered the war in 1950, they quickly seized air superiority, pounding targets with heavy B-29 bombers and with close ground support from piston-engine P-51s and first-generation jets like the F-80 Shooting Star. That changed almost overnight. North Korean MiG-15s appeared, instantly causing panic. The state-of-the-art jet fighter with its swept wings was faster and more heavily armed than anything the UN forces had. It caused such heavy losses in B-29 squadrons, they were restricted to bombing at night. To counter the threat, the US rushed its newest and most modern fighter to Korea, the North American F-86 Sabre. The MiG could climb higher and faster than the F-86 and could also turn more sharply. The F-86, while inferior on paper, could dive faster, was more stable, and had a radar gun sight which came in handy during high-speed jet dogfights. The MiG-15 was designed as a bomber killer. Its huge 37mm cannon, backed up with a pair of 23mm cannons, packed a real punch, but they were difficult to aim at faster-moving targets. The F-86 relied on the tried-and-true armament from the Second World War, 650 caliber machine guns. They were more accurate, but often lacked the power to bring down the rugged MiG-15s, many flying to safety despite being peppered with bullets. Many of the MiGs were secretly flown by experienced Soviet veterans as well as North Korean and Chinese pilots. Dogfights mostly occurred over a small area in the northwest, which became known as MiG Alley.
The MiGs would usually come out of, not North Korea, but come out of communist China, across the Yalu River. A MiG-15 that was being flown by a guy that was obviously superior to me in skill latched onto me. He was so close I could hear the sound of his guns as he fired. The reason that I'm here talking to you today is that my element leader, Gene Rogge, came in behind that MiG, and while the MiG was shooting at me, Gene Rogge was pouring bullets into him and shot him down. Up till that point, I had no real understanding of what it meant to have some guy really try to kill you.
By the end of the Korean War, Sabre pilots claimed an 8-to-1 kill ratio against their communist adversaries, but much of that was down to the experience of the pilots rather than the aircraft itself. Today only a handful of airworthy examples exist, and the two aircraft are more often found side by side in museum displays. But the lessons learned in these two fighters over Korea helped shape the future of high-speed aerial combat. Richard Johnson, Forces News.